The First World War begins in August 1914. 10 million men will die by the war's end. Days turn into months and months into years. The war was not going to be over by Christmas, but by Christmas, however, there was a victory, a truce, a victory for humanity. The Great War is the prime example of slaughter, brutality, and senselessness. The fighting was most savage in no man's land on the Western Front. Everyone believed the war would be over by Christmas. The World War was the boiling point of 200 years of European history, coming to a head in the late 19th century and the early 20th century. The Allied system was a fragile and double-edged sword. On the 20th of June 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand was shot by Gavrilo Princip. By the time he was buried, the World War had begun. The Germans go to war with France and Russia, and Britain is dragged in due to the Germans invading Belgium and the German dominance in Europe if they were not checked. All along the Belgian-French border, they would soon dig in from the North Sea to the Swiss border, making the Western Front. Trenches go from holes in the ground to a science. The Germans cannot push forward, nor the Allies cannot push the Germans back. Morale drops, and so does the temperature. Morale drops, and so does the temperature, as winter was here. Christmas is 6 days away. Both sides try to bring Christmas cheer and boost morale to the troops. The Queen gives the troops gifts. All families are expected to send the boys at the front a gift. This makes the boys more homesick. One night, a sound is heard, not of guns or dogs barking or artillery, but of singing, in German, Silent Nacht, or Silent Night. Was this a trick? But maybe we should sing along just to be sure, as the song would bring out humanity, and humanity would be at its finest on the night of the 24th December 1914. All along the front, men sung in French, German, Indian, Senegalese, English, and even Dutch. Bruce Brainfather wakes up and starts to write. It was the sort of day for peace to be declared. It would have made such a good finale. I could have liked the appearance of a small figure running across the mud and waving something. He gets closer, a telegraph boy with a wire. He hands it to me. With trembling fingers I open it. War off? Returning home? George Rex? But no. It was just a nice, fine day. That's all. Everyone climbs out of their trench, and without a single shot, everyone greets each other. British khaki and German felt grau, shake hands in no man's land. This day is what High Command feared and predicted the most. These men in no man's land are more at risk from their own men than the enemy, but even some officers get into the Christmas spirit. It symbolized the last time we followed the rules, and the humanity of the men who shared the same fate before they were turned into monsters or lesser than by propaganda. The ground was still fresh and trees were still alive. They got the men to play some football. It was a match, Germany versus England, 1-0. Before the moon craters of the landscape and the burning forests of World War I. While Christmas broke out in many places, some men were not so lucky, mostly between the French and the Belgians versus and against the Germans. Some men still knew a war was going on, so while the men played football or cut hair, some men still knew a war was going on, so while the other men played football or were distracted, men would sneak into the trenches to see the fences and lay out some machine gun nests and sniper positions. Most did not get in, but it was worth a try. Some goodwill was still shared, mostly by the immortal picture of the Saxons versus the Scottish Glengarries. Men would cut hair, exchange gifts and numbers if they were to make it back alive, enjoy some Christmas dinner, football, drank some wine, Christmas crackers and jokes, and even got to hang out and smoke tobacco or marijuana or weed. But all good things must come to an end. Otto said goodbye to Jim, and Jim said goodbye to Otto. This is the last time humanity would be seen on a large scale ever again. Men would go to sleep that night, wondering if they will have to return to fighting, knowing that they will have to kill a friend the very next day. Boxing Day, the 26th of December 1914. The day comes, and the truce still goes on for a bit, though most men still start to settle back into shooting and becoming the enemy. mostly by force, however, as the generals issued the court-martial order to shoot whoever goes to fraternizes with the enemy. One story goes, however, the British and the Germans traded hats and jam for the famous pickle herb, and they trusted them so much to return it on parades and parade day that it would be there the very next day. So much trust from Hans to Jim in just one day. The war resumes. Things remain the same, with artillery and court-martials on the men as the Christmas truce had finally come to an end by force. The Christmas truce is a memory, and the worst is yet to come. The next year, millions die. Turkey, Bulgaria enters the war. The war has expanded. Poison gas is news for the first time. May the Christmas truce of 1915 even happen? The commanders and the generals of the war know this, and issue orders to punish those who try. The Germans got it even worse, as trying to do the Christmas truce is high treason and a swift bullet to the back of the head. Some try to recreate it, especially in the quiet sectors, but that was just a live and let live mentality that they had all year. But it was a half-hearted attempt to try and capture the magic of 1914. 1914, December the 25th, was the first and last genuine human moment of war. By 1916, it was the end of an era. Animals were gone, the horses were gone, the rules of war broken, dehumanizing the enemy through propaganda common, tanks and planes, assault groups, new modernized weapons. Assault weapons. This is modern war. Out of 1,459 days, there's one day to remember, not of death, and not for death, but the birth of Jesus Christ, and to have fellowship with your fellow man, whether black or white, Muslim or Christian or Jewish, French or German. It was a happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. And there were many other sectors in Christmas truces and Easter cruces, and there were many other truces as well. The Christmas truce was not relegated just to the Western Front, and though Otto met Jim and Harry met Gunther, the Christmas truce was not relegated to the Western Front, and though Gunther met Harry and Jim met Otto, Pavlov met Franz, and Franz met Vasilislav, and even the Bulgarians at Paviloshka met Thermopylae, and Thermopylae met Voloshola, and even the Serbians met some Hungarians, but they were the most bloodiest sector of the war. And even the Italians, the most murderous sector by Cadorna. Beppe met Franz, and Franz met Cadorna, and Veneto, and Versace. And that is the way Christmas brings us all together, no matter Italian, German, Senegalese, Taiwanese, no matter Indo-Chinese or even Southwest African. Christmas brings us all together, from war to home. It's just something about Christmas, even though it's kind of a pagan holiday. But we shall all remember, even though we pick a specific day for the birth of Jesus Christ, we shall always remember him, because the present is life. From me to yours truly, happy Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa, and if you're atheist, bah humbug. But hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something. Go and spend time with your family on the 25th. You don't have to watch this video on the 25th, or maybe after Christmas dinner at least. But anyway, hope you enjoy. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Shalom, Alaham, Halasekum to my Muslim brethrens, and Bah Humbug to the people who do not believe in a higher power. God be with you, or Bah Humbug, or Flying Spaghetti Monster, whatever you choose. To all, and to all, a good night. God bless everyone. Yeah, that's actually a reference from, what is it, Christmas Carol, yeah, Little Jimmy. What a kid, what a trooper. Learn something, boys and girls. I don't know. Merry Christmas again. Merry Learn Something Christmas. The end.
Go God bless